What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is the Jose Show. Happy Tuesday. I hope that everyone is enjoying their lovely, beautiful day. But anyways, let's get into the hot topics. Now let's talk about Sean Diddy Combs. So Sean Diddy Combs is now a criminal defendant in a sex trafficking, racketeering, and kidnapping case after a grand jury indicted him, this according to official documents. So, Diddy has been charged with 3 counts: racketeering, conspiracy, sex trafficking by force, fraud, or coercion, and transportation to engage in prostitution. According to the indictment from 2008 to the present, members of the Combs enterprise allegedly engaged in sex trafficking, forced labor, interstate transportation for purposes of prostitution, coercion, and enticement to engage in prostitution, narcotic offenses, kidnapping, arson, bribery, and obstruction of justice. So, according to the indictment, the purpose of the Combs enterprise was to operate a global business in the media, entertainment, and lifestyle industries. The purpose also includes preserving Diddy's power and fulfilling his personal desires, especially in relation to his sexual gratification, including through the exploitation of women and the use of commercial sex working. Okay, so anyways, the indictment mentions the now famous freak-off parties, calling them elaborate and produced sex performances that Combs arranged, directed, masturbated during, and often electronically recorded. The indictment alleges Combs lured women into his orbit under the pretense of a romantic relationship and then used force, threats of force, and coercion to cause victims to engage in extended sex acts with male commercial sex workers. Okay, so after the freak-offs, Combs and the victims typically received IV fluids to recover from the physical exertion and drug use. The indictment does not include details on the kidnapping allegations other than they occurred in California, as did arson and bribery. Okay, so as for the drug charges, they allegedly involved the intent to distribute narcotics, including cocaine, oxycodone, Xanax, GHB, the date rape drug, MDMA, and ketamine. The indictment references what was seized during the raids at Diddy's homes in Beverly Hills and Miami, various freak-off supplies, including narcotics, and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant. They also seized firearms, including 3 AR-15s with the face serial numbers and a drum magazine. All right, so anyways, the indictment also includes allegations of violence against women. He's alleged to have assaulted women by striking, punching, dragging, throwing objects at, and kicking them. It references a March 2016 incident at an LA hotel captured on video, and this is clearly referencing the Casey incident. Okay, this is very insane what I'm hearing here. I think that Sean Diddy Combs definitely deserves to be behind bars after all of the evil that he has done, because this is definitely something that should not be happening in this world, ladies and gentlemen. We need love. We need peace. We should not be in a world that is divided with so much hate and evil. I feel like this guy definitely thought that it was perfectly fine to be doing all of these things just because he's a freaking celebrity, when in reality, it is not okay regardless of what you are. And guess what? You are not above the law. The law is above all of us, okay? So that is definitely something that this guy should have thought before doing all of these evil, stupid things in the first place. I also feel like he really thought that he was the cool guy. He was the cool macho, having to go off and do all of these stupid, evil things to all of these poor victims out there, that I can't even imagine all of the trauma, all of the heartbreak that these victims went through, having to go through all of this by just having to put up with a guy that went off and drugged them and went off and did God knows what else towards them. I think that these poor victims, in my personal opinion, are going to end up in the freaking psychiatric hold or in a freaking therapy because of how traumatized they've been by having to go through all of this. I feel like this guy should have gotten in trouble a long time ago for all of the things that he has been doing. But unfortunately, he did not get in trouble a long time ago because of the fact that all of these victims, I'm pretty sure, were forced to keep their mouths shut, because I have a feeling that all of these victims were threatened if they were to say anything. And since they were victims, by the way, they were seen as the weak ones, as the ones that literally were not supposed to say anything. And if they were to say anything, they would easily, God knows, get killed or get kidnapped or God knows what else. So this is definitely, unfortunately, the reality of it all, especially when it comes to people that we do not know and that we think are nice and peachy just because they seem nice and peachy on camera, when in reality, they are not who they seem to be. So we as people, we need to be careful on who we are interacting with, on who we are with, on who we even support, especially as musicians, okay? We see one face, but in reality, they are a different face. So, anyways, we have to be careful, and I really hope that Sean Diddy Combs gets to learn his own freaking lesson behind bars for the rest of his freaking life. All right, now on to the next topic. Now, let's talk about something even more sad. So, a high school cheerleader who recently impressed judges on America's Got Talent has tragically died, with her death being investigated as a suicide. So, high schooler Emily Gold, 17, was found dead under a bridge on the eastbound 210 freeway in Rancho Cucamonga, California, just before midnight Friday. Law enforcement sources tell TMZ she is believed to have jumped from an overpass above and landed on the freeway below. So, TMZ was told that CHP got 911 calls about a pedestrian down in the carpool lane, and when authorities arrived, they found at least one vehicle had run over Gold and didn't stop. Okay, so TMZ was told that it's unclear if the driver even knew they struck a person or just ran over what they thought was an object in the carpool lane. Okay, so there were no suicide notes found at the scene or on Gold. The CHP continues to investigate the case. Okay, so this is very sad what I'm hearing here. This just comes to show that suicide is so freaking dangerous and so freaking sad. And we as people, we need to check in on others to see if they are perfectly fine. Because unfortunately, we as people, we assume that everyone is perfectly fine and that it's whatever, when in reality, we don't know if the person is going through a lot in life. We don't know if the person is going through a lot in their household, in their workplace, or wherever. And you know, in this crazy world that we live in, it's pretty obvious that there are a lot of people out there that are going through so much and that need help immediately, especially help from a friend, because a friend will definitely guide you and be there for you in the good, the bad, and the ugly. And that is something that a lot of you guys need to acknowledge out there instead of getting so sad and so hopeless, okay? Depression is so awful and it's literally the enemy of happiness. And whenever we get so depressed, I mean, yes, of course, it's so hard having to overcome that because of the fact that it's just so hard having to go through a situation like that. But guess what? We as people, we cannot give up. We got to get back up and get back up into our feet and be happy and also look at the beautiful stuff that life has to offer because at the end of the day, life is beautiful. Life is filled with so many beautiful people out there that will cheer you on, that will definitely be there for you, that will definitely make you smile and make you laugh, you know? And yes, of course, life isn't perfect. There's going to be downs. But at the end of the day, there are so many beautiful things in life to look forward to. And that is something that this girl should have been told, by the way, in order for this girl to still be alive to this day. Depression is just the worst thing in the whole entire planet, ladies and gentlemen, especially suicide. Please, ladies and gentlemen, please be happy. Please get help out there. Please, please be confident in telling what you are going through to the person that you are talking to so that way you can be able to talk it out with that person instead of keeping it in your body. All right. So, anyways, to those of you that are having suicidal thoughts and that are going through so much, there is a number which is 988, which is the Suicide Lifeline. So please contact them if you are ever going through anything that serious. Now, on to the next topic. Now, let's talk about something more happy. Well, Taylor Swift and Billie Eilish are birds of a feather when it comes to their election plans, as the 22-year-old singer is voicing her support for Kamala Harris. So the pop star took to Instagram alongside brother and music producer Phineas Tuesday, where they encouraged their U.S. followers to register to vote and endorse the Vice President of the United States in her bid for the White House. So Billy said, "We are voting for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz because they are fighting to protect our reproductive freedom, our planet, and our democracy." So Billie Eilish encouraged her fans to vote like your lives depend on it, saying she and Phineas plan to vote early this year. Okay, so Phineas chimed in with his own 2 cents, encouraging voters not to let extremists control our lives, our freedoms, and our future. Okay, so he continued, "The only way to stop them and the dangerous Project 2025 agenda is to vote and elect Kamala Harris." All right, so this is really amazing that Billie Eilish and Phineas are supporting Kamala Harris because she is basically helping Kamala Harris win, because let's remember that Billie Eilish has a huge fandom that supports her. And I believe that Billie Eilish, by the way, is pretty smart enough to be supporting Kamala Harris, because Kamala Harris is that woman that you want in the White House. She is that person in general that you want in the White House. And that's just my personal opinion. You can go off and disagree with me if you want. I'm just saying. Now, I believe here that Billy is among the many celebrities, by the way, that is supporting Kamala Harris, because let's remember that Taylor Swift and even Beyonce is supporting Kamala Harris, which, by the way, is super huge, because let's remember that Taylor Swift and Beyonce are also super huge, and they, by the way, have been all over the world lately with their touring, by the way. And let's also remember that Kamala Harris, she's had these huge rallies, by the way, with so many people supporting her like crazy, man. I feel like those rallies are even bigger than the freaking concerts of these huge celebrities, especially because of how popular and how loved Kamala Harris is. So this right here is already a really good sign that Kamala Harris is already getting the enough support that she should be getting. And I really hope that the support and this momentum keeps on going until November 5th, because man, this is definitely amazing having to see this. Now, I really hope that Kamala Harris wins, but we'll see. Now, that is it for today's show, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope you guys enjoyed today's lovely, emotional episode of The Jose Show. Till next time, and peace.